there is sometimes some apprehension on people changing their diet, period. Whether you're going to go to a vegan lifestyle or vegetarian, or you're just trying to eliminate red meat, there's some apprehension, especially in terms of us in our communities, because of flavor. And I think it was good for you to tell people that as a Caribbean man, a Puerto Rican man here, your husband is Dominican. We like a little adobo, a little sazon in the food, right? This is what we do. And I was glad you spoke on that, because sometimes people think it's difficult and you can't have the flavor within that. So I want, one of the things you talked about before, Danielle, is you started Fit and Play Mama, your website, your organization. You did this right at the start of the pandemic, which I remember when we spoke, I was like, oh man, I was amazed. One that has to be, starting up anything as a business is always a little scary, right? Doing your own thing is a little scary, but sometimes it's necessary. And you started this up, and one of the things that was a big part of your message, and I noticed from talking to you, was, look, you don't have to just do this alone. Parents, you have kids, you can get your kids to come and do it with you. I've been working out through the pandemic. My daughter sees me working out. Brian's been doing the same. We've made this a conscious effort. How important is it for people to be able to not just do this, but do it together? What's the power of doing it together? Because there's power in that, right?
Absolutely. So we all need community, right? We are social beings, and like it or not, we need each other, And if we can't necessarily be with each other physically, right? If you can create a community, a virtual community, and know that you're everybody's accountable for, then that in itself is a great thing to have. And so that was another reason for doing Fit and Play Mama, was to let people know, like, yeah, I mean, my daughter's here, and you know what? I'm going to work out, and she can join me. She doesn't have to join me. And I always tell people too who have kids, just work out. There's never going to be a time where you can just like have, everything perfect. It's not going to happen. So you need to start as soon as possible. And the great thing is, if you do start doing it as a family, it's fun, and all of you are getting the benefits of working out together. You're losing weight. You're starting to feel good about yourself. You're probably sleeping better, right? And not only that, so now you're walking outside and you feel good about it. You feel good that, we're a family, we're bonding. So there's just so many positive things to say about, working out together, eating well together, and sharing that with other people. Again, like I said, I just tell people what works for me. And when they see that, hey, she seems like she's doing pretty good, and it seems like her family's looking great and they're feeling great, it's like a poster. It's like, we are living the actual, message.
Yeah,
right.
No doubt.
Question about vitamins, which we touched on earlier, but
Yeah.
I'm assuming that all vitamins aren't created equal. You have a lot of different brands. A lot of them taste the same, different. Some of them taste more like candy than others. I'm wondering, just what can you tell us about that? Things that we probably don't know, which are good for you, which aren't. What should we be looking for in terms of taking the vitamins that are right for us?
Definitely. So you want to look for products that just have the vitamin and less, because you see at the bottom, they'll say other ingredients, right?
Yep.
So whatever those other ingredients are should have very limited sugar, right? So you don't want to add sugar into especially vitamins, right? Now, kids, it's another thing, when you're giving them vitamins, they will have certain sugars, but you look for the content to be very low, right? So it's all ingredients go by according to weight. So if it's down low on the ingredient list, then it's okay. But I also do stress, like, again, with my clients, I'm like, get your vitamins from your food. Do that. Try to do that as much as possible. So yes, the supplement is there, but sometimes supplements, it just goes right through you. It depends on, how it's made. And, there's so many different categories of vitamins. So my best advice is go to your fruits and your vegetables and your legumes and all of those, whole grains, and then just do a multivitamin, anything that, try to look for something that is high quality, but you don't have to go crazy and you don't have to spend a lot of money, right? Because the supplement industry is very, very expensive. They make
Profitable.
so try to, really limit. You don't have to go crazy. But yes, try to fit your food in as your actual food. And I hear a lot like, oh, but our soil is depleted. Yes, our soil is depleted, but there's still vitamins in your food. So you still have to eat well, because you can't cancel out eating not so good with the vitamin. Like, it just doesn't
Doesn't work that way. Right. It doesn't work that way at all.
No.
Danielle, one of the things you'll hear from people, I'm sure Brian hears this too. You tell your friends, hey, I'm working out. You probably talk to friends, hey, I'm going for a workout here. And people say to you, how do you have time for this? How do you make the time to do this? How are you able to fit this in your day?
Right.
I feel like my friends that work out, including Brian, when I talk to them, I hear the time that they're making in their day. You and I are both parents. We're still making the time in our day. That, I feel like, can be the biggest deterrent for people. Yeah. What should people do in this time, which is a stressful time for a lot of people, to be able to carve out some time so they can work out? You mentioned before, even if it's 5-10 minutes, right? Any time counts. So what do you think people should do so they're not weighed by the emotions of this time and finding the time where they can work out?
Yeah. So there's a few things that you could do. One, you could hire a personal trainer, just because now someone's holding you accountable at this point, right? So that's one thing. You could hire a personal trainer. You can do a group fitness class, whether it's online or I know like some people are doing things out in the park, right? Social distancing. That's great. So if you feel like you don't have the motivation, I would definitely first say, then look into a class, right? That's the more, easier to do, and it's also more affordable. And then the next thing is a personal trainer. Personal trainers, it's amazing because they are tailoring an actual workout for you, right? So with my clients, what I do is I meet with them either once or twice a week virtually, and then I give them homework during the week to do, right? So homework is, okay, these are, a bunch of different exercises that you should do a couple times a week. Now, if you can't do both of those options, then I would say is think of it like eating a meal. Think of it like brushing your teeth, or think of it like just doing something that you normally do every day, right? So, you got to brush your teeth every day. You have to take a shower. Well, hopefully you're taking showers every day.
I hope so.
Right? So if you put it in as an actual task that needs to be done, whether it's, okay, in the morning you wake up, you do 10 minutes of stretching, arms up, moving back, just getting your body moving like that, that's great. And then, you know what? Lunchtime, right before you eat lunch, do another movement exercise, put your timer on. Everybody has timers now on their iPhones or on their computers or whatever, right? So you do that, put a timer on, do what you need to do. And it doesn't have to be specific squats and lunges, right? Just move your legs around, move your body around. Or like I said, go outside, do a walk around the block, say, okay, for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, I'm going to do this walk around my block. I'm going to go faster than I normally walk, right? Because you want to try to increase your heart rate. Your heart is a muscle that needs to work out. So you have to push yourself. That's the other thing too. I think people are a little afraid of like, I don't know. If I push myself, I get out of breath. It's okay. It's okay to get out of breath a little bit, right? Because that means your heart is working. That means your lungs are expelling out the carbon dioxide and all the toxins that are in your body, right? So that's okay, right? And then afterwards you cool down, and then guess what? Lunchtime. Now I just did, look at that. I just did 15 minutes of just walking. That's workout. So, yeah.
Right. You got to figure out the ways.
And then I guess this is my final question. Cheat meals. Is this something that we should actually be doing, even though we're working out 4, 5, 6, whatever amount of times a week? Is this something that's actually good for us, to work towards, once a week or do people have an entire cheat day? Like, what's your thoughts on that? And is that something we should actually be doing once in a while if we're trying to get fit to sort of shock our systems and maybe reset?
That was a great question. I love it.
That's a really good question too, because yeah, right. We want to reward ourselves, right? We want to have something like where we're, oh, I worked out so hard this week. I'm gonna have that chocolate cake, and I'm gonna have, whatever it is. And you know what? If you want it, have it. But then I want you to also see how you feel afterwards. Did it make you feel, yeah, right? Like, did it make you feel good afterwards? Did you start to feel like, sluggish afterwards? That is the indicator. Your body and the way your brain works, right? So it's natural for our bodies because of evolution, right? Because we come from hunters and gatherers who we actually didn't, in the beginning of time, we didn't get enough food, right? So we were starving all the time, right? So now fast forward to today's world, we have excess food. Food is everywhere. So you can eat as much as you want, whenever you want, however you want. But what is happening to our population now, right? Obesity, and all of these different chronic diseases are happening. And it's excess. It's a lot of excess food. So cheat day, I think it's fine. But I want you to note how you feel afterwards. And was it necessarily, maybe next time, I don't know, like maybe I'll have a smaller piece, like I can feel so good after that. And I know for me, like my body, it's just so easy for me to say, I want this. And then after I have it, I'm like, why did I eat that?
But you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, Danielle, because I feel like we've all sort of experienced this, but I definitely experienced this where in high school you could just eat whatever. Like I was playing 3 sports, we were going to McDonald's after basketball practice and all that stuff. If I have McDonald's now, I'll feel sick afterwards. It just doesn't hit the same. Eating Chinese food, any of that stuff, it just doesn't hit the same way because now I'm mostly grilled chicken, water, veggies, and stuff like that.
Right. You're in tune with your body, right? And that's once you start to eat like this, you really do feel the effects of processed food right away.
Yep.
So that's why I'm saying eat it. But see what happens. Was it worth it? That food at that moment. And I'm not saying, now you can never eat this stuff again. Sure, but maybe you need to put it smaller portions, right? So not such a big portion at this point, like you maybe used to have. So smaller portions, and then for the rest of the time, and I also drink a lot of water after. If I eat something that I'm like, this was terrible,
guzzle down that water.
I gotta get it out of my body.
Yeah, Danielle, I think the last thing for me is, you've given us so much good stuff here, so much good stuff that I think listeners and viewers will take with them. We're in this pandemic, as we've kind of talked about throughout this, and it's such an important time to talk about health. But there has been, the positive is there has been an increased awareness on health within certain communities. Do you think coming out of this that the mindsets of people will change based on the work that yourself and other people are doing? Do you think there's a shift in mindset towards mental and physical health coming out of this pandemic?
I do. I feel very hopeful because I think there are a lot of people that are speaking out about it. And I have noticed even with certain shows and news channels, and a lot of these are online news channels, they are talking about it. Maybe not necessarily like the mass media is talking about it, but they're, our age group now, I feel like we do a lot of internet and, we're YouTubing all the time, so I have been seeing a lot more of that message of, hey, why aren't we talking about this? Why are we not talking about health and fitness? And, we got to get people, more aware of how they can make themselves healthier or, better. And, let's bring this to the forefront.